we're going to talk about how do we integrate sustainability into your value streams, and sort of why that is important as well. And seeing if you're going to remember something after my talk, after all me talking here, blabbering about different things, I want you to stay with you that the next step that you take, you have two choices. Either you take it towards a sustainable future, or we're going to perish and look at our planet from Mars or something like that in a few years. So regardless of what you do after this, think about the next step, think about where you're going as well. Who am I? I always forget to introduce myself because I like to talk about the things we're going to do as you think about the actions we're going to take. My name's Alex. I'm sort of like a freelance working in the intersection between sustainability and agile practices. And I try to make it count on what I do. It doesn't matter what it is. I really want us to do something that actually creates something better. And I'm sort of like my mood coming here today. I'm a bit fed up with us talking about what we're going to do, and I want to push you guys towards action. I want you guys to actually do something after this as well. So hopefully this is adapted so you can take action after this as well. Because how many of you guys are feeling like this regarding sustainability right now? I would say I'm a sort of like a curve going up and down regarding this as well. So sort of like each other day, I feel like, oh, it's going to go to shit. And the next day, I'm sitting in the same position and I see the fire extinguisher and I'm running towards it, trying to move and do something with it as well. And sort of like, I think that's important because sort of seeing the gap that we're here right now. Who of you have seen this before? That's good. A few of you guys. But sort of like seeing what this is sort of like our right now, where the gap is towards where we need to act and where our targets are. And as you can see, the gap is quite large. We need to move more and we need to do quite drastic actions because the policies that we have in place right now are moving us closer to 3 degrees than 1.5 degrees. And that's a low estimate and a conservative estimate as well. So we need to get our feet on the ground and we need to talk about sustainability today, not tomorrow, not a future strategy. It is today. It's tomorrow's move and it's today's move as well. So the next step now, again, that we're talking about. And sort of like talking into this and making it a bit more graspful, what we need to do by 2030 is half our emissions from 2020 years level. We need to half our emissions. And if you think about it, you guys sitting here in the room, we're Swedes, most of us at least, and seeing that we are now using approximately 10 tons of carbon emissions per person per year, and we need to go down to 2. So we actually need to change a lot in our behaviors and what we do as well. And this requires quite a lot of action. It requires really much action. But how we're still talking about sustainability as a part of something that we need to do with reporting, something that we need to do with sort of like can stop flying, but it actually is a lot about what we consume, a lot about the services that we use, a lot about the business that we offer to our customers, the value proposition. And the exponential roadmap, if you continue that as well, it's divided into 4 pillars. And this is sort of like coming into a lot of companies a bit easier to understand. So it's sort of the first line where you look at your company and see that I'm going to reduce my own emissions. And when you get a bit further along with that, you realize, okay, I need to reduce my value chain because it's broader than just me, all right? What we're going to talk about a lot today, or what I work with, is here. So how do you integrate this into your value proposition, your business strategy, and how do you influence what you do? And then hopefully that influences climate action in society, but that's a bit broader. Of course, we touch upon both. It's not a messy world that we're living in. Everything's connected. But what is happening with sustainability right now? So I worked as a sustainability manager for an IT company, but what are they concerned with right now, and what are their directions related to what are they being hassled about. And I don't know if anybody of you are aware of CSRD. Good. And it's something, it's a EU regulation, and we talked about availability here before. This is just an explanation if you guys haven't heard it before. But what it means is that most companies in the EU are going to be affected in some way, either or if you're on the stock market or if you are related to them in any way. You're going to become obligated to report on sustainability in parity to your financial reporting in steps starting from this year, actually. So it's going to affect companies a lot. And working with sustainability managers, their feeling regarding this is like this. I'm torn between like different silos and projects. All my time is spent collecting data, not creating value. I'm all alone trying to change the world. That's a bit harsh. I thought more of us wanted to create this value. And I think, is this similar to something we've seen before? What are we really good at in an agile setting? Ideas? Nothing? Creating chaos. Yeah, I love that. So it's chaos here in the picture, but sort of what I want to go about here is, yes, we're good at creating chaos as well and doing different things, but we're really good at organizing the next step, getting our way towards it as well, seeing a complex world, seeing how we operate towards getting towards the goal. And that's where, if you look at this again, that's where they need help. So we need to reach out to them because they have huge challenges related to this. And so the solution is not to scrap what we're doing, but instead integrate sustainability into what we're doing. And on a practical note, how do we go about doing that then? So if you think about, this is two examples talking about being small on PowerPoint presentation, but it's sort of like today's business model. This is an example of us, just a t-shirt or a shirt, something that you want to assess how good is this if you just change the business model. A simplified value stream if you want to do it with a product. But if we're going to help sustainability managers and the sustainable transition here, we need to help them in framing this. How do we compare here today's business model with how, if the value flow is a bit different with a rental model, how can we help support that in a good sense? And if we're going to translate this, is this something that we do know? We're used to talking about KPIs as cycle time, net promoter score, customer retention, waiting time, etc. But we need to start talking about things as material efficiency for the flow, energy consumption, water usage, emissions per customer transaction or per customer fulfillment. And this is quite easy to actually start talking about. This might be harder to measure, but we need to start moving towards this direction as well. And sort of like a rhetorical question. Of course, we can't keep on like growing with the materials, but we can dematerialize it and continue growing without it as well. So seeing how do we provide value in an efficient way? Because sort of like the best way to predict the future is to be a part of taking the next step and creating it. So if you stay with something today, I really want you to take the next step and actually be a part of creating this as well, because you have the tools, help it, and be a part of moving it forward. And realizing that that was everything, and I'm on the clock. I don't know how that happens, but that's sort of like, I'll run around here as well if you want to talk about me, but otherwise you can just reach out. Right? Thanks, guys.